Welcome back again, dear viewers. And school academic year is supposed to start in Gaza, but actually there are no schools, no classes, because the Israeli occupation forces had destroyed all the schools, even have been used for refuge. So nobody talks about the miserable life that the Palestinians are having or leading in the Gaza Strip, and the kids over there, they are having no school, no food, no fuel, no simple signals of humanitarian or human life. Nobody cares but Egypt. Actually, Egypt is keen on around the clock, is still exerting a very great efforts to try to reach a comprehensive ceasefire. During a very important meeting yesterday with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell in Egypt, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi stressed the importance of the aid, the humanitarian aid, to let them pass and to the Gaza Strip, and also the miserable life that they are leading over there, and to start to end the genocide war that Israel is carrying over there. So to shed more light on this, we are delighted to have over the phone Dr. Hassan Waguih, the Professor of International Negotiations. So there, Dr. Hassan, good morning.
Good morning to you.
It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
So the importance of such a significant meeting between Mr. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and the EU Foreign Policy Chiefs, Josep Borrell. Of course, between the, first of all, the meeting tackled the relationship between the bilateral relationship with the EU countries and Egypt, especially in economic, trade and energy, and Egypt to be a regional hub for energy. And of course the Palestinian cause was a great part of the negotiation. How you found the current stage or the current phase of the negotiation right away, as you are Professor of International Negotiations? So Egypt is trying its utmost to try to reach a ceasefire, but Israel from the other side is closing all windows and all doors for negotiations. So how do you find the current situation?
The current situation is very clear. Egypt is trying to exert all possible efforts to get something palpable, to come to an end, to a ceasefire, to end this terrible humanitarian crisis, unprecedented, by the way, unprecedented humanitarian crisis. Egypt is trying to mobilize the international community in that direction. But again, there is no strong momentum by the global move by the United Nations. There is no task of completion as it should be. The whole world is witnessing most of the time, rather than putting the correct pressure to end this humanitarian, unprecedented humanitarian crisis. So Egypt is also exerting what we call strategic patience. So and diligence in continuation, despite the fact that we listened to some statements of youth encouraging from the other party, but Egypt is continuing its effort to carry the torch of peace in this area.
Yeah. Dr. Waguih, when we talk about the side of Israel, nowadays we are witnessing demonstrations everywhere in Israel, especially after the killing of the 6 hostages in Gaza. So that internal and domestic pressure on Netanyahu and his cabinet, why there is like no signal of a sort of solution concerning the stepping back or reaching a sort of even a tempo ceasefire, if it's not a permanent from the Israeli side, why there is no sort of pressure even domestically or internally on the Israeli cabinet till now?
Actually, you know, if you analyze what's happening, if you analyze the discourse inside Israel, you can find that there are the press and the media and some figures are really criticizing what's happening when it comes to the Netanyahu policy in managing the whole this whole crisis. And actually, their criticism is not that efficient or effective, because, you know, when you have the rise of the rightists, the rise of extremism, and the rise of narrow-minded calculations that would serve the political agenda and the political future of the Prime Minister of Israel. And this, I'm not saying this myself, it is being said by so many people, even inside Israel itself. So when you have this narrow-mindedness, when you have this insistence on massacres, the problem is that the word of silence is terrible too. So we can witness terrible situation and condemnation of a crisis that should come to an end.
Yeah, but he's not responding actually, because he's still trying to get only his political survival. This is what Netanyahu is trying to do against the whole world. And actually, what she's really wondering is that the whole community, the community of the international community and the whole world, with all the EU and the UN organizations, they could do nothing, I mean, against Netanyahu. Even the United States, of course, they are trying to show that they are nowadays, I mean, for the ceasefire, but still fully supportive for Netanyahu and his ongoing aggression.
Actually, the problem lies in two things here also. You know, this period till the new president of the United States will be elected, where all political analysts call it lame duck president. So a lame duck president means, as an expression, that a president who will never take really serious, strong decisions in one direction or the other, leaving the whole thing for the next president of the United States. So actually, this is one thing. The other thing, which is terrible, is that you know, the United Nations have issued many resolutions, many statements with no enforcement. And when you analyze the discourse of Secretary General of the United Nations, you can find that he is trying to make wake-up call that the United Nations future would be like the future of the League of Nations. The League of Nations collapsed and there was a world war. So he is afraid of the same thing to happen because of the weakness of this institution needs the repair and reform. And it should be taken into seriously so as the world could have some kind of enforcement of its resolution.
Excuse me, Dr. Hassan, excuse me. Would you just stay in a better place to get a better network? Because your voice supposed to be not so clear. So, yeah, please continue. Yes, sorry.
Oh, yes, we will. Yes. You're listening to me now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, now it's a bit better, yeah.
Yeah, so I that these two elements, a lame duck president in the White House and an institution, UN institution that needs the repair and the reform and power and the enforcement to carry out its responsibilities in this world, which is really witnessing many conflicts, not only in Gaza, but also see what's happening in Ukraine and other places in Somalia. So I hope there will be a good move for repair and reform for the United Nations to act, actually, because without that, the whole thing will stand in the wrong direction.
Actually, it's unbelievable what we are witnessing nowadays, that one person is standing actually against the whole world, against the international community, the international organizations, I mean the UN Security Council, the UN Assembly, General Assembly, the International Court of Justice, the ICC, I mean against everything, against the international humanitarian law. So how we are supposed as nations worldwide to believe any longer on the international law to be implemented, and when in such case?
And actually the whole world is witnessing favorable and disastrous situation. But you listened well to me. There are some other voices conflicted with. Do you hear what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Yep.
So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
I'm speaking and someone else is speaking actually. So is it the echo of my voice or someone?
No. It's actually great cries of the international law and the international community to stand against the Israeli incursion and Israeli aggression on the Palestinian territories, and especially, of course, in Gaza Strip. And also to expand the war on other fronts. Nowadays we are witnessing as well the expansion of the war to the north with Lebanon, with Syrian. So everywhere, Israel is opening fronts everywhere. Doesn't care, doesn't give a damn with any international law. So.
But this will never work out for everyone, and it will lead the whole area to a much more crisis slide, and that will never serve the purpose and the agenda of anyone. So I hope there should be wise movement on the part of the international community to help Egypt in its move to establish sustainable peace and stop this terrible humanitarian crisis, to stop this continuation of unfair ceasefire, unfair war against the Palestinian people. Massacres every day is being committed, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I believe in political science we always have to be optimistic and to be hopeful that at the end justice and negotiations will of course win and will of course achieve the. Exactly.
We need the stamina and the energy and the strategic patience and continuation, and that's it.
Yeah. Talking on the other side of the meeting with the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and the EU Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell concerning the mutual bilateral ties with the EU and Egypt. And of course referring to the latest Egypt-EU investment conference which Egypt held and hosted a few months ago. How you find the bilateral cooperation between the EU and Egypt, and concerning the Egypt to be a regional hub for energy and energy transformation, of course. So how you find this?
I found that the whole world became very keen to know the role, the very important role Egypt is playing in stabilizing this area, in dealing with the Mediterranean area and the Middle East area at large. And I think that the strategic relationship that the President was keen to establish with the European Union was met by mutual action and mutual cooperation between Egypt and Egypt and the EU. So I think this strategic cooperation will go on we need to exert more effort on both sides so as to help development, but also developing needs sustainable peace, needs stability. So this first things first. So I think that the move come to establish this stability and to stop the wars and the conflicts and deal with the radical roots of this conflict.
Yeah. Dr. Waguih, concerning the illegal migration, Egypt is doing great and exerted efforts in this file, of course in cooperation with the EU, as they are combating the illegal migration to the European countries. And they do know how to depend on Egypt on this file. So how do you find the exerted efforts doing by Egypt to prevent and combat the illegal migration through the Mediterranean, of course, to the European countries?
Actually, a great effort is being conducted, it's being exerted in this direction, and any visitor to Egypt would recognize that Egypt is hosting millions of people from different parts of the conflict, and we consider them as citizens, as the President said, not putting them in camps or doing what other countries have done.
Yeah.
So everyone can witness this great number of people from different countries, and this is the role of Egypt along history. Egypt is a hub for the humanitarian kitchen all the time.
Yeah, and we are hosting more than 10 million, I'm not saying refugees, or I mean 10 million citizens from other sites of disputes around the world. So, Dr.
Right.
Hassan Waguih, Professor of International Negotiations, thanks a lot for being with us. Have a nice day. So, dear viewers, we still have more, but right after the break. Stay with us.